Chris D'Elia. We got an update on Chris D'Elia. This is weird. When I saw this story yesterday, oh no, I don't want to subscribe to Rolling Stone. I want this story without subscribing.
Would you subscribe to Tumbling Stone?
Chris D'Elia, you remember the first time that the news came out that he was potentially grooming or messaging underage girls?
Yes.
And he lost movies. And it was very public. There was a very public fall from grace for Chris D'Elia. Well, now this documentary has come out where this comic has made a documentary talking to the women and saying that there's literally hundreds more, is the accusation, that he was like trying to start a harem or a sex house or something like a sex cult, basically. And a lot of troubling new allegations came out in this documentary that's been out for about a month or so. Well, now there's a very strange thing happening, and Chris D'Elia is being quietly canceled. Like, it's not like this big public, oh, fuck him, he's done. Clubs are just independently canceling his gigs now. And they're not making a big statement about it. They're not making big news. You know, you can tell that your career has gone over the cliff where when you get canceled, people don't even hear about it.
That is strange, but I guess where I get surprised with news like this for him is that I kind of figured people just stopped doing business with him already. I didn't know people are still really booking him.
I can't figure out why.
Like
Brendan Schaub does a podcast with him.
No, and I can't understand why like a club owner would book him. That to me doesn't make any sense. Like you're bringing Chris D'Elia in your club. That seems like you're bringing ass cancer in your club.
I mean, think about it though. Like Brendan doesn't have controversies. Brendan has internet beefs that were fun drama to talk about, and Brendan gets called silly and retarded and stupid, and he can't talk, and he doesn't deserve what he has, and he's a Rogan bot and everything else. But it's not like there's nothing about Schaub where you'd go, oh, this guy's a sex pest, or oh, this guy's some kind of like, some kind of danger to other people if we let him have a platform. Nobody's ever said that about Brendan Schaub.
No.
You know, even the one thing he did get involved in, the Bobby Lee thing, we're all kind of starting to figure out now that was Kalila's doing.
Yeah, I feel like that wasn't his fault.
She orchestrated that whole thing. So, like, why Brendan Schaub feels that he needs Chris D'Elia to do a show with, when Chris D'Elia is, by the way, not even a good podcaster.
No, he's awful, and he's awful to look at. Like, he's just... I don't know. He looks like an AIDS patient to me.
Right. So there's no reason to have this guy working with you, but Brendan keeps him. Like, Brendan's the only one still doing a show with him, still allowing him to work with him and everything else. It's called The Golden Hour with him and, is it Eric Griffin?
Yes.
And honestly...
And they stole that name, too.
I didn't know this, but that Eric Griffin has been canceled, too, for some accusations.
Oh,
Nothing proven, but...
Right. I didn't know that part because I was wondering, too, like, people talk about Eric Griffin all the time. Like, why would he do a podcast with this guy? Right. He's too good to be in there, but...
Yeah, their podcast, The Golden Hour, does have 425,000 subscribers. Holy shit.
So, maybe to small people like us, like, D'Elia's name isn't worth shit anymore just because he's been a shitty person. But, like, is he still just a really big thing?
No, that first cancellation really took his toll. And I don't know if this one's going to be the end, but if it's not over already. But again, I don't understand, like, where he could still get work from. Like, these are such crazy allegations. And it's like the Cosby thing. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yes, there's too much going on.
All of these women can't be liars. Let's say out of the 200 women or so that are accusing him, 90% are liars. That's 20 women.
That's still a lot.
20 women that he did this to. So the guy's fucked. And one thing that does make me lose heart, one thing that does actually bum me out about society, I hate saying society, but this country in general and the world, is that if someone's a big enough fan of someone, they will defend them. And that can't be the case. You can't have your fandom dictate whether or not someone is a bad guy. Like, you have to let the facts decide that. There's nothing wrong with losing your fandom of a comedian. Do you know how many comedians there are out there?
Plenty.
Thousands.
Yep.
Pick a new one.
Plenty to choose from. Yeah, I never understood how you could watch things like that documentary out there on Chris.
Right.
And still sit next to him without looking at him like...
Right. That one there,
with disgust.
That comedian you like, he's a creepy sex pest. Pick a new one.
When did sex pest become a thing?
I don't know, but it's a good word.
It is a good one.
It's a good, because there's certain words you can't use because they're actionable and things like that. You got to see what's proven and what's not proven. But sex pest, I mean, that's just a goofy term, matter of opinion. But the other thing that gets me about these really famous guys, they don't have to do any of it. It's not like they're these hideous fucking guys who can't get a girl and they're disgusting and they're gross and they're like, oh, if I don't take it, I won't get it. But instead, like a Chris D'Elia who could pick any woman he wants and, cheat on his wife, do all this other shit. But like, it went so far beyond cheating on your wife. It went cheating on your wife and then like controlling and manipulating.
Ooh, and then how about the fact like she's still there?
Yeah.
That to me says a lot about her too.
Makes me wonder about her.
Yeah.
Just like I wonder about Camille Cosby.
Right.
Camille Cosby.
How much are you aware of and you're just kind of sitting by?
She defends Bill. She's not just there. She defends Bill Cosby. So I get serious Camille Cosby vibes from Chris D'Elia's wife, for sure. I read a book about Stockholm Syndrome once as Consider. It started badly, but by the end, I loved it. I thought he was actually going to have a Chris D'Elia opinion on his wife having Stockholm Syndrome. Instead, we're just got a really good joke out of it. So yeah, clubs are canceling him. Shows are canceling him. But this time, it's quiet. They're just kind of doing it, calling him, hey, man, you're done, you're out. And he's not doing this public apology like he did before. And by the way, that public apology he did the first time, I remember when that apology came out, and I was like,
no.
This guy, have you ever watched it?
I don't know if I have.
Have you ever seen Chris D'Elia's apology?
Been a long time.
It's really kind of, why are you apologizing? Okay. Are you apologizing because April and I have had this conversation before where I'm like, I apologize for things because I swear to God, I didn't know I was doing them and I got told I'm doing them. So it's like, holy shit, I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. Like usually if someone is actively changing really hard, they feel bad and they actually realize they did something wrong. Then there's the people who are just talking a good game and you realize, oh shit, this person's doing PR.
Right.
And Chris D'Elia's apology came as like a PR apology. Well, obviously, because the behavior didn't change.
Nope. That's not the allegations.
The I'm sorry speech should be the shortest part of the whole thing. That should just be a holy shit. I had no idea that was happening. I'm sorry. Let's fix that. It shouldn't be 30 minutes long.
It never seems like any celebrity ever can pull that off. Like the True Jordy stuff's embarrassing. Like whenever anyone's got an apology to give, it's I have seen this.
Yeah, True Jordy, his apology was a performance. Like he was performing. He
was doing that for money.
When you do a public apology video like that, and it's like 30 minutes long like his was, and at the end you say like and subscribe, you realize you go, oh shit, I just got performed in front of.
I've just been had.
Yeah, he performed that apology in front of me. You know what? People may find this disingenuous. I disagree with them. Maybe you guys are the same. I would much rather have a written, released apology that's like one paragraph long than a 9-minute and 48-second apology on a podcast.
Because like you said, it shouldn't have to be this long.
Right.
Like it should be a pretty short and sweet.
Should we revisit this? This is 1 year ago this got posted.
It's relevant, yeah.
So this motherfucker couldn't behave for a year. Not only couldn't behave, April, never stopped.
He's an addict,
right.
I guess.
Never stopped.
Right.
So remember, before we play this, everything he's about to say had not stopped, was still doing it while he's apologizing. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I know that it's been a really long time since you've heard from me. And when the news broke, I I put out a statement that said everything I've done has been legal and consensual, and that's true. And I wanted that statement to speak for itself. And I wanted to talk immediately.
Let me address that part. I wanted to talk immediately. That's a control thing. That's not here's what an apology looks like. I want to speak to these women directly, and I want to tell them how fucking terrible I feel. I didn't realize this is what I had been doing, and I'm so sorry for that. But when you go out and you do this podcast apology and you go, I wanted to talk immediately, and there's no mention of the women, there's no mention of any of that, that sounds like you're now pitting yourself against them.
Yes. Yep.
Now it's you versus them, and you're fighting against it. And I'll tell you what, I'll defend him in this sense. He had something going. He didn't want to lose it. He had a career that was on fire. Millions coming in a year, and he didn't want to lose it. Chris D'Elia never thought, am I doing something wrong? He never took inventory of, should I change my behavior? He instantly went to, how do I roll this situation into the current fame and career I have and make it still all go?
I never understand celebrities like him or athletes or anyone who get into like weird shit with women and just think it's okay and they're not going to get away with it. So I guess if you don't want to lose your career, maybe don't start like a cult, like a weird sex cult.
Well, think about this with athletes. High school, college, professional. When has anyone ever told them no? And I don't mean sexually. I mean like in life. When have these athletes ever been told no? If everyone gives you everything you want because you're a stud star athlete, you start to forget that people might not want you. Because everybody has given you everything. So the same thing that made them this famous, great football player might be this, you say, hey, if you're this famous, great football player, why do you do this with women? Maybe there's no separation. Maybe the same thing that made them X also made them Y.
I could see a little of that. I just always figured that there's probably enough women who would throw themselves at you that you could pass the one who said no.
But maybe they don't want it. That's what I mean. Maybe they want, because they've been said yes to and they've been spoiled and catered to, maybe once they get the no, that's where the sale begins. Like, wait a minute, I want the one who finally told me no. How dare they? Like, no, everybody wants me. That kind of a thing.
I wanted to post online. I wanted to do my podcast, business as usual, but I thought that might not be the best thing. What might be the best thing it would be if I just take this time to be with my family, try and take a long, hard look at myself, and just and do that. And
he's 45 seconds in, and if I were his manager, I'd go, cut.
Yeah, this is bad.
Cut. Stop. You're not saying anything. You're umming. You're awing. You don't know how you're going to approach this. Right? I say this to people who do podcasts all the time. You're not a stream of consciousness guy. Write something down.
Bullet points.
Yeah, bullet point it. Have something ready to go.
It was a lot. It was hard. I first of all, I do know how it looks with all the stuff that's been said and the emails that have been put out there and what the media has been trying to say. And I know it looks bad, and it doesn't show the
stop.
Oh, man.
Stop. And again,
this
look
is hard.
And to show further that this is about controlling his career and not being apologetic for what he'd done and thinking it was wrong. Because one of the most beautiful things in human history is when someone looks hard at themselves, realizes they've done wrong, and goes, I got to switch it up. That is a powerful thing, because we all know a lot of people who just simply are not capable of doing it, like Chris D'Elia. It's one thing to see you've done wrong and change. It's another thing to say you're sorry because you just think it'll help.
Yeah.
It's another thing to say you're sorry, look dead into a camera, and actively are still doing the same exact thing you're fucking apologizing for. Because even a guy who's not sorry for what he did or doesn't think he did anything wrong will still stop doing that thing until the shit runs away.
You would think so. Just because, like,
Right.
all the light is on you right now. Spotlights are on you.
Bill Cosby would put away his lewds for a couple of months while this whole thing blows over.
Let's just wait till the waters calm a little.
Which, by the way, is still evil.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is what this guy did is even more evil because he's sitting there doing this. And by the way, like a narcissist anyway, already has said, I wanted to get out in front of this. I needed to come speak. I needed to tell my side of the story because I need you not to believe those broads. Not, I'm sorry for what I did to them. It sounds like they're in a lot of pain. And even though it may have been a misunderstanding and I didn't intend for them to be hurt this way, I thought it was all consensual. Clearly, that the impact got fucked up. Mm-hmm. They got hurt. I never wanted to hurt anybody. It kills me that happened. I feel fucking terrible. That's an apology. You realize you did something that you didn't mean to do. You didn't realize it was happening. And now that you know, you feel gut shot about it. Not, hey, I felt like I needed to come here and talk about it. I needed to come here and get my shit out as much as I can because of all the media scrutiny that's out there. We're 1:18 into this apology a year ago. He hasn't once brought up the women.
But he does know it looks bad.
Right.
Full scope of what happened. I stand by the fact that all my relationships have been consensual and legal, and that's just it. That's the truth. I threw this kind of time away.
Time away. He never took. He took like a week.
Yeah, that almost sounds like a poor me comment to like I threw this time away
Yeah.
and.
No, he's saying threw this time away, not through THREW, like THROUGH.
Through this time
Through
away.
this time away.
It's like a journey for him.
And he hadn't even taken that much time away. And it wasn't voluntarily time away. People said, we can't work with you right now. You got to sit a few plays out, champ.
I've seeked out a lot of kind of, medical advice, therapy, and stuff like that. That doesn't matter here nor there.
But wait a minute. If it was all normal and consensual and fine, why are you seeking out therapy? And you see what I mean about the bullshit apology?
Well,
you can tell if someone believes they did wrong by the way they tell you they're sorry.
I sometimes think it's good that people like him put things like this out anyways because it says a lot about them.
It's very
he just
exposing.
told us. He just told us, like, I've had to go to therapy and stuff. Well, like, clearly we know now why you've had to go to therapy. Thank you.
Right. But why does a guy whose all his relationships have been consensual and legal have to go to therapy?
That's what I'm saying. So thank you for telling me you've needed therapy because that answers questions.
But what I have come to understand is this was always about sex to me. My life was, sex.
Stop.
It
Stop.
controlled my life. It was the focus. It was my focus all the time.
And by the way, I just realized that with him saying this now, that's a problem, Chris. Nobody's saying you did anything. We're not slapping the cuffs on you. We're not bringing you to jail. We're saying what you did was highly unethical and scummy. And you're now confirming it by saying, oh, my whole life has been sex. That's kind of a scummy thing.
It is scummy, but even if somebody's life was all about sex, they might not have gone about it the way you did.
Right.
And I had a problem. And I do have a problem. It's not like you months down the line, you just kind of, everything's better. I need to do work on that.
I need to do work on that. I want to remind you, I'm glad we're revisiting this 1-year-old apology. He wasn't even working on it when he did this.
Nope. I need to work on it.
I need to work. Hey, Chris, no better time than the present.
I know. Like, he could have started yesterday.
What you been waiting for? Hey, when this thing came out like a month or two ago, I realized it was fucked up and it was terrible. Boy, I was checking my to-do list. I forgot to change my sexual habits. My bad. I'll get on it tomorrow. But if you're the wife and you don't leave, that doesn't teach him anything. He still gets everything he wants.
That's why I said says a lot about her too. Like, a lot of people will say like she's just in it for the money. Maybe she is. Maybe she gets like, it's not. I feel like in celebrity relationships like this one, the guy or the girl's caught doing shitty stuff. The other one definitely knew about it. Right. Usually,
like I said, the Camille Cosby thing.
She's probably got her own shit.
Oh,
not like I would never say like him.
Jesus,
I'm saying she doesn't care what he's off doing because she's got her own life.
Right.
when I first started doing stand-up and I started getting a little bit of notoriety in my early 30s, having sex got a lot easier is the, for the lack of better words. And I felt lucky.
Okay, now wait, I call timeout on this because I understand where he's coming from. Because even as just when you're in a small town or a medium-sized town and you get a level of fame within that 40, 50-mile radius, he's right. That kind of stuff does become easier. I experienced it. Adrian experienced it. Everyone who's associated with the show experienced it. Truth be told, I would have never run into April if I hadn't had a show. If I hadn't had some kind of notoriety, there would have been no reason for the two of us to ever cross paths. Mm-hmm. And but that is not an excuse.
You can still not do like weird sex shit and like culty harem things.
You didn't get famous and then decide you want that. That's been something that's been in you the entire time. If you would have just been out there fucking broads all the time, okay, I'd say, you know what, the notoriety, the fame, it was so easy. Girls were throwing themselves at him and he was fucking them all. Nobody would be canceling you for that.
No, that's, like I said, that's just sex, okay?
Just sex. It's the other shit.
There is some seriously troubling shit you've done.
And again, that's why we're revisiting the apology, because he's having gigs canceled again now. And I'm sure it's a matter of time before he's off that podcast. But, and that's Brendan's fault, by the way. That podcast, that's his fault.
Well, his name's on it, right?
I mean, in this case, it's like the old the old parable about the frog that needs to cross the river. And the scorpion says, may I ride on your back? And the frog says, no, you're a scorpion. You'll sting me as we're crossing the river. You'll panic and you'll sting me. And the scorpion goes, I swear on my life, I promise I will not sting you. So the frog puts the scorpion on his back. They start crossing the river. Scorpion panics, stings the frog. As the frog's dying, he goes, hey, why did you you promised me you wouldn't sting me. Why did you do that? And the scorpion said, 'tis my nature. And that parable is the perfect explanation of a Chris D'Elia. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me, can't get fooled again. So with Chris D'Elia, the first time Brendan put him on a show, and this happened, and he had to get rid of him, shame on Chris. But Brendan puts him on another fucking podcast. That's not Chris's fault anymore. Now it's Brendan's fault for going back to that. You put the scorpion on your back, and you thought he wouldn't sting you. The motherfucker's still at his tail.
I felt like, oh, wow, I don't need to work as hard, I can just do a show and then have sex, or roll into a city and look at my inbox and then just start writing. And
that's fine. None of that is...
Exactly. All of that is permissible to a degree.
He's acting like he's the first celebrity a married celebrity to go get pussy when he gets to a new town.
I know.
Jesus,
isn't that just kind of like that's all people think about, like old rock bands and shit like that? It's just how it is.
You can't give a public apology if you don't know what you're sorry for. You can't give a public apology and then half-ass it and go, oh, sorry for getting pussy. That's not what people are mad about.
Yeah, this sounds like almost like a non-humble brag, like, oh, I fuck, like I can just roll into any city and all I got to do is, answer my messages. And
no, you see, Chris, it's
sex.
Yeah, it's the messaging to teenage girls, and it's also messaging girls while they're at the mall to go in the bathroom, get on all fours, and take pictures for you. That's the creepy shit that you need to be apologizing for. And until you admit that kind of shit, nobody cares what you have to say.
And you know what teenage girls do when they're teenage girls is they'll message anyone that they think has like some level of like fame or something like this just to see if they can get a message back.
Well, and then people say, well, why did these girls do this stuff for him? Like he would figure out what makes them tick, and like he would threaten to kill himself, and he would do all this dark manipulative shit to get them to do what he wanted them to do sexually.
I do hate the threats of offing yourself just because somebody didn't. That seems like a new level.
Look, man, if you're at that point, it's over already. Yeah. Like, forget it.
I did, man. I wrote. I mean, I know you've seen some of the messages online. I mean, there's way more than that. I would get 50, at least 50 messages after a show each city a night, and I would reply to all of them. And I thought in my mind that being straight up with these women was the right thing to do. I'd say, hey, come to my hotel room and let's have sex. Let's make out. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that was what I thought was right.
If you don't stop making those mouth noises,
okay,
I'm going to end your career personally.
I cannot. I'm so glad you said something. His mouth sounds like so gross.
And you know what the weirdest thing about these celebrities with podcasts is? They have like producers, which is stupid. Run the fucking board yourself. You're fine. They have producers who are supposed to be working. This audio quality stinks. Stop with the wood paneling behind you. The wood paneling is dead. It's so stupid. But the air in the background is something you can easily EQ out on your Rodecaster. The picking up the mouth noises is something you can eliminate on your little board you have here for $400 or $500.
I don't think we have the same microphones.
Yes.
By the way, I don't think our mics are picking up our mouth noises if we ever have any.
I mean, I'd have smacked that loud, but you also don't do that into a microphone, you dumb dick.
I realized through all of this that doing that is just treating sex like it's casual and
that's not
again
and being flippant with people.
That's fine.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
You asshole.
And that's not
God.
the guy I want to be. It's not okay, and I'm sorry for that.
It is the guy you want to be. It is.
It makes me feel shameful, and
you
it
want to
makes
be
me
a worse
feel
guy
bad.
than that.
Stop sighing into the mic too.
Yeah, stop that too. You sound like
people
an
talk a
asshole.
lot about the power dynamic and about, why should someone...
So we'll cut it there. You get the idea. That apology from a year ago wasn't even an apology for the thing that he was doing.
He doesn't know what he did wrong.
Or
he clearly doesn't.
Or the other thing, he just wants it to go away, so he's going to say enough that will make the thing go away.
Like, just dumb it all down, like make himself sound so boring and like, oh, it was just sex. I had a lot of sex and I didn't know that was wrong. Like... Yeah. God, it really is everything but the sex that was wrong, in my opinion here.
And again, let's reiterate, now that we can look back on this, because the reason we brought it up is because he is being canceled again. Gigs are getting canceled. Rolling Stone reported on it yesterday. Chris D'Elia is once again on his way out. But you know what? Shame on anybody who let him back in, because again, going back, if you look at that apology, he never apologized for the thing that was the problem. He never stopped doing the thing that was the problem. And that was such a CYA, cover your ass apology, protect my career apology, not an I think I did anything wrong. There's a difference between I did something wrong and I'm sorry, and I'm sorry I got caught. Mm-hmm. Those are two very different apologies. And that one was an I'm sorry I got caught. How can I make this better? That was a transactional apology. That was a, I'm sorry your product isn't what you wanted. Can I get you a refund apology?
To me, is more like he just wanted his face to look better to people right now.
That's it. And Ronan simply says, fucking Brendan Schaub. I mean, I want to feel bad for Brendan, but I can't. Like, as dumb as Brendan is, doesn't he have people around him who can say, not him? Dude, are you out of your mind? Not that guy. He's going to drag you down. He's the scorpion on the frog's back, that Chris D'Elia. And he's doing it to Brendan Schaub all over it.
I've always just seen him as a cancer. He's cancer.
Mr. Frosty says, we are all only sorry we got caught. No, I think the really good apologies come from people who are confronted and they legitimately go, holy shit, I had no... Like, how many times you heard someone say, I had no idea you felt that way? Like, there are times where people do that. They go, I had, like, friends when they fight or couples when they fight, you go, I didn't know you felt like that. I'm so, like, people genuinely feel bad. Most people, when they make someone feel bad, feel terrible about it. Mm-hmm. They feel shitty because 90% of people don't do things to intentionally hurt another person. They think they're fine. Triple N says, there is such a thing as honest self-reflection. Precisely. Guy Sartell says, every time I insult you, I feel bad. Well, see, now you're more like Chris D'Elia because you keep doing it.
That is true. He comes back for more.
Shamu says, Schaub cried when D'Elia got busted on the fighter and the kid. Yeah.
Well,
Then why did you bring him back?
Well, yeah, okay, but the crying thing, I understand that to a level, because if Chris D'Elia was your friend,
right, you don't want to know he's doing that.
You don't want to find that out. That doesn't feel good. Right. Now you're upset to find out that your buddy's so fucked up, but not only that, now you can't like feel good about being friends with him, so you feel like you're losing a friendship.
Yeah. Brittany says, this was a non-apology. I know that's all I get from my husband. Well, wow. Throw him under the bus on a public forum. Jesus.